A gaming backlog is a hell of a thing. You can have the best game ever made in history and there will be someone somewhere that buys it, plays it for 10 minutes and then never touches it ever again like a selfish one-night stand. And admittedly, the list of games that I have treated in this exact way is longer than Epstein's Xbox Live Friends list. From Skyrim to Fallout, The Witcher to Dead Rising, Portal to Doki Doki Literature Club, the variety of my gaming backlog is truly something to behold. But I have decided that 2026 is the year that I change that. So I sat down and wrote out every single game I own that I've either bought, experienced the main menu and then left to collect digital dust in the Steam library, or I've simply never played with at all and abandoned until draft day or I need a kidney transplant. And then, instead of carefully and meticulously deciding on which game to attempt to finish first, I watched a YouTube video about modding a certain game released in 2008 so that it didn't run like complete and utter horseshit. And so, welcome to the first installment of the Backlog Battles, and our first completed game of 2026, GTA 4. Yes, that's right, I had never actually played GTA 4 for more than 20 minutes, but is this game as good as people say it is? And it's not uncommon for people to claim it as the best GTA game, or even one of the best games ever made. But is this just nostalgia talking? Memories of an experience from a simpler time influencing people's opinion and mindset? I wanted to experience the game for myself, and I was going in blind with no nostalgia and only ever experiencing the first 20 minutes of the game over 10 years ago on the Xbox 360 and a 720p Dell Office monitor. To determine just how good this game is, there's a few pieces of criteria I believe are fundamental to distinguishing a great game from one that's complete garbage: environment, gameplay, and story. And I'm going to be giving these three categories a score out of 5 to give GTA 4 a definitive grading from someone who has zero bias whatsoever. And so, we'll start things off with the concrete jungle of Liberty City. Don't get me wrong, this place is cool, especially with a few of the added on mods that increase the visual quality of the game and are really powerful enough to bump the traffic density up to the max, even with a few bugs along the way. This is all just taxis! It's all just taxis! Look at them all! The city is bustling, and even with the frequent use of what seems to be only a handful of NPC character models, the city feels alive. With the needle. But I couldn't help but thinking that everywhere just kind of looked the same, and not in a racist way. I know there's obviously different distinctive areas throughout the map, from the first island you begin the game on to the dock area and the industrial sections as well. But when you've come from multiple playthroughs over 10 years of GTA 5, where there's bustling downtown areas, residential precincts, mountains, deserts, lakes, and oceans, it's easy to be underwhelmed by an environment that feels like if you pick 5 random spots on the map, they'll all look incredibly similar. And no, not in a racist way. In saying that, I loved how the city felt rough and textured, and really cemented the more gritty experience that I remember being unsure of and uninterested in all those years ago. I understand it now. The grey and brown tone of everything was a huge shock for a much younger me after experiencing the bright, energetic caricature of Los Santos and its surrounding areas. But this time I leant into the more grounded environment and allowed myself to be present in the more realistic world of Liberty City. I mean, somewhat realistic. For the environment, while it was grounded and I grew to really appreciate the setting itself, I just felt like I was missing a bit of the variety that's more present in recent titles. I give it a 3.5 out of 5. Which leads us to exploring and experiencing the gritty, textured and grounded concrete jungle that seemingly has fucking ice covering every single road. Not that kind of ice, the cold, frozen water kind. This thing fucking sucks! The gameplay in GTA 4 isn't bad, but holy fuck, it was a struggle sometimes. I'll get the worst part out of the way first. The driving in this game fucking sucks dick. Cars feel like boats at best, and at worst, it feels like trying to drive in a dream, with the turning circle of a semi-truck and brakes that are about as useful as a condom pinned to a community notice board. No brakes. I deserve that. You eventually get the hang of things after you realize you have to drive a lot slower than you want to. I missed my turn. And it's completely impossible to turn the vehicle if you're braking or accelerating at the same time. A tidy combination of both women driving and men being incapable of multitasking. But again, when you've experienced the fluidity of GTA 5 driving, this shit is rough. Otherwise, navigating the city is an enjoyable experience, even with the skating rink roads. However, with so much of the city looking and feeling incredibly similar, not in a racist way, it felt like I was constantly looking at my map and dropping waypoints. Gunplay again is an understandable step down from its predecessor in GTA 5, with a whole lot less vertical accuracy, but it didn't feel detrimental to the overall experience in the way that driving did throughout the playthrough. And sometimes, when I wasn't shooting like an absolute idiot, I even felt quite capable, almost Wick-esque. Mantling and character movement was also a little clunky, but again, it wasn't anything too extreme or bad enough to make the game feel like shit. Get in the boat. Start driving. However, it did result in a tantrum or two from time to time. Oh my fucking... Are you fucking kidding me, aren't you? What are you doing? The variety of missions also did sometimes leave a little to be desired. A lot of the time, it felt like I was just killing someone. I would kill someone for someone and then pick something up for someone, and then someone else would try and take it and I'd kill them, or I'd be looking after someone and they'd get betrayed. I would kill people to protect that someone and then go and get revenge by, you guessed it, killing someone. I definitely missed the variety of missions that I remembered GTA 5 offering by having 3 different characters from 3 different backgrounds with 3 different personalities and 3 different moral compasses. I also seem to have completely forgotten about hand-to-hand combat in this game. I vaguely remember some kind of tutorial that felt smooth enough, but after that, I don't think I ever engaged with an NPC with my fists, almost always countering any attempt at physical intimidation with calm words of de-escalation. And when that didn't work... A lack of checkpoints throughout missions was also a massive hindrance on my enjoyment and overall experience of the game. Oh my fucking god, bro. You're kidding. Countless times I would get 3/4 of the way through a mission and then fail the mission or be killed. No! 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 Sometimes due to a straight up skill issue, but more often than not, I'd get absolutely stitched up or just be plain unlucky like Robert Pattinson at the end of Remember Me, only to be returned to the very beginning of the mission and lose 15 minutes of progress. I'm over this game. I'm actually starting to get over it. I'm starting to get really fucking sick and tired of doing these missions from the fucking beginning! It might not seem like a lot, but when the mission itself is simple but tedious and you keep getting digitally railed by movements not registering or an unlucky grenade, oh fuck! And have suddenly lost over an hour of your life, it can get on your nerves to say the least. When it comes to the gameplay side of things, based on my own personal experience with checkpoints and grenades, I have to give it a 3 out of 5. Oh, pedophile glasses. Which now finally leads us to our third criteria for a non-cheat game, the story. And the story is where this game both soars, but also, in some portions, falls short. Thinking back to my original 20-minute Xbox 360 experience all those years ago, the beginning of this narrative was absolutely something that gave me a gaming floppy and prevented me from playing all the way through. But that's more on me not giving it enough time than on the story itself. It's definitely a slow burn at the start, and when you only give the game enough time to show you an immigrant getting off a boat and hanging out with his bowling-obsessed cousin at his shitty taxi company, it's no surprise I didn't play again for 15 years.
Can you do me a favor? Mallory needs a lift.
But being the committed gamer I am now, the story settled and I was introduced to a wider array of characters, locations, subplots, and stories that hooked me in big time.
I know the traitor was not me. So for 10 years, I've been searching for the other 2.
From the Irish, the Italians, the Russians, each character, family, and group felt like they had their own personality and individuality. And even if a lot of these characters were some of the dumbest criminals I've ever seen, they were a lot of fun. Even Brucey grew on me. In saying that, I couldn't help but feel as though the ending was somewhat lackluster. Spoilers incoming, by the way, so if you want to skip them, go to this timestamp here. I briefly thought that I had finished the game after I got my revenge on the man who had betrayed me in my home country. First shooting him point blank and then reloading my save file, letting him escape, run into a car, and then, well, still getting my revenge. But then it became apparent that I still had a couple of missions yet to complete, and after punching those out, deciding on not getting my revenge on Dimitri, getting betrayed by that stupid bitch, my boy Roman getting popped, hunting Dimitri down, repeatedly getting fucked in the final mission, again and again and again, and eventually finally rolling credits, I couldn't help but find myself left with the feeling of, is that it? I was trying to determine where that feeling of incompleteness came from for some time, like a mystery SDI with no definitive source, but a distinct feeling of discomfort and confusion regardless. I think I might have been tricked into thinking that something bigger was just around the corner based off of the more serious, gritty environment of Liberty City. It felt like for most of the game, I was waiting for the big, serious, intimidating antagonist that genuinely made me nervous or unsettled or unsafe. But that's not what GTA is known for, and they never came. The story is definitely one of the stronger elements of Grand Theft Auto 4, and even with my own expectations maybe being a little too high, and an ending that seemed slightly lackluster, a strong ensemble of characters and storylines nicely woven together means I can still easily give it a 4 out of 5. GTA 4 was an experience to say the least. I think it was an incredible feat of game design and storytelling for its time, with a diverse range of characters and a story that truly grips you if you give it the time and opportunity to do so. Is it one of the best games of all time? Penis, erection, party time, buy meds. If you'd asked me all the way back in 2008, I would have said yes, absolutely. But this game sucks. This game's fucking bang average, bro. But with how the gaming experience has evolved, and without any iota of nostalgia or prejudice in me, I honestly think that it's just not as good as GTA 5. Words have consequences! But it is still a fantastic experience that I recommend you play for more than 20 minutes. If you've made it this far, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. This is the first episode of the Backlog Battles, and all the games I play this year will be streamed both here on YouTube and also over on Twitch. So if you want to watch me raw dog games like Red Dead Redemption and maybe even some Souls-likes, make sure to subscribe here and follow over there. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next one.